Dear viewers, welcome to our channel. Today I am going to discuss about the CAIIB Bank Financial Management Memory Recalled Questions. 1 to 30 questions we are going to discuss now. These questions are very important and these questions are from latest previous exam questions. That's it. Then question number 1 on the screen is Basel III Tier 1 capital percentage. As for Basel III Tier 1 capital percentage, as per RBI norms, common equity Tier 1 capital 5.5% of risk weighted assets. Common equity means own capital. Common equity regulatory capital 5.5% of risk weighted assets. And additional Tier 1 capital 1.5% of risk weighted assets. Tier 1 capital is equals common equity Tier 1 capital plus additional Tier 1 capital. Additional Tier 1 capital is the perpetual non-cumulative preference shares. Innovative perpetual debt instruments, perpetual non-cumulative preference shares comes under additional Tier 1 capital. This is 1.5% of risk-weighted assets. So total Tier 1 capital in compliance with the Basel III RBI stipulations for Indian banks as of date 7% of risk-weighted assets. This is Tier 1 capital also called as going concern capital. Going concern capital means without triggering the bankruptcy, the bank can adjust return of the Tier 1 capital, that is the called going concern capital. Second question, perpetual non-cumulative preference shares. Perpetual non-cumulative preference shares are part of additional Tier 1 capital instruments as per RBI specifications. These perpetual non-cumulative preference shares are issued without any step-up options. Without any step-up options, and this is part of Tier 1 capital. But maximum additional Tier 1 capital not exceeding 1.5% of risk-weighted assets as per RBI stipulations. That is. Question number 3, prepayment of loans. Before due date, any loan is going to be repaid, or premature closure of deposits. Premature closure of deposits comes under what type of risk? Embedded option risk. So prepayment of loans or premature closure of deposits, it is part of embedded option risk. Now as of today, banks are facing this risk also, one of the major risks. Number 4, call risk arises due to crystallization of non-fund based limits. Crystallization of non-fund based limits to fund based. When the crystallization of non-fund based to fund based limits in the occasion of invocation of bank guarantee or development of letter of credit, in both the cases, the non-fund based limits are going to be converted into fund based limits, and the bank is having obligation to honor its commitments under bank guarantee at letter of credit after crystallization. So this crystallization of non-fund based limits to fund based limits, part of call risk. This question number 4. Question number 5, domestic systemically important banks. Domestic systemically important banks concept was introduced in Basel III. The reason for the introduction of domestic systemically important banks is announced with the term too big to fail. When the bank is going too big, there is a chance to failure. So that is the concept. As of date, in India, domestic systemically important banks are SBI, HDFC Bank and ICICI Bank. Under this concept, SBI, HDFC and ICICI are the domestic systemic important banks, and they have to maintain more leverage ratio of 4%. The domestic systemically important banks leverage ratio is 4, remaining other banks 3.5. And these domestic systemically important banks, SBI, additionally, it has to maintain 0.6% more capital adequacy ratio. SBI, under this concept, has to maintain more CRAR of 0.6%, ICICI Bank and HDFC Bank 0.2%. So, under this concept, this is the question number 5th. Question number 6th, Basel III introduced 2 additional capital buffers. Under Basel III, there are 2 capital buffers are introduced. Number 1, CCB, capital conservation buffer. Second one is counter cyclical capital buffer. So under Basel III, there are some amendments are there. Out of that, 2 buffer standards they are created, capital buffers. Capital conservation buffer and counter cyclical capital buffer. This is question number 6. Question number 7, capital conservation buffer. When bank has to create, banks build up capital buffers during normal times. This CCB has to be created during normal times, which can be drawn, which can be utilized as losses incurred during a stress period. So it has to be created during normal periods, means outside stress period, and it can be utilized during stress period. And banks has to create CCB, capital conservation buffer, in the form of common equity tier 1 capital, that is own capital, regulatory capital. CCB is mandatory for Indian banks under this concept. Now Indian banks has to create 2.5% of risk weighted assets in the form of common equity. Now initially RBI has given time 4 years, bank has to create CCB. Initially it was started 31/3/2016. Our banks has created 0.625% of risk weighted assets. 31/3/2017, 0.625% of risk weighted assets was already created. 31/3/2018 also 0.625% of risk weighted assets in the form of capital conservation buffer was created. So the remaining part postponed to 2019, 2020, presently deferred to 1st October 2021. So under this CCB, Indian banks has created only 1.875% of risk weighted assets. 1.875%. The remaining part, as per the scheduled time, 1st October 2021, RBI given time. This is question number 7. Question number 8. What is the range of counter cycle capital buffer? It is the range starts from 0% to 2.5% of risk weighted assets in the form of common equity tier 1 capital. This is also 0 to 2.5% of risk weighted assets in the form of common equity tier 1 capital. This was introduced under Basel III but was not implemented in India because there was no excessive aggregate credit growth there in India. Whenever there is a excessive aggregate credit growth is there in India, then RBI is going to introduce this counter cycle capital buffer, and RBI can give direction to the banks for implementation of this counter cyclical capital buffer. For implementation of this, at least RBI will give 1 year in advance intimation to the banks. This is about the counter cyclical capital buffer. Question number 9. Penalty for the non-maintenance of cash reserve ratio and SLR statutory liquidity ratio. It means if any bank failed to maintain non-maintenance of CRR and SLR, for 1 day default is there, 3% above the bank rate. 1 day default for CRR and SLR maintenance, bank rate plus 3%. If default continues for beyond 1 day, the penalty is bank rate plus 5%. Present bank rate is 4.25%. This is about the question number 9, penalty for non-maintenance of CRR. The CRR has to be maintained by banks with RBI. On the CRR balances, banks are not getting any interest also. This is about non-maintenance of CRR. Question number 10, items not included in NDTL calculation for CRR calculation purpose. Items not included in net demand and time limit is for calculation of cash reserve ratio. Capital, you have to exclude capital, reserves, refinance from RBI, NABARD, SIDBI also. Bills discounted with RBI at bank rate, that also. Subsidies received on behalf of borrowers. Interbank term deposits, term borrowing liabilities, original maturities of 15 days and above up to 1 year. That also not included in part of NDTL calculation. Sometimes they are asking CRR calculation, 5 marks case study in BFM paper. Question number 11, full form of PONV, point of non-viability. Point of non-viability. Bank's point of non-viability will be decided by RBI based on CRAR, capital to risk weighted assets ratio of the bank, non-performing assets level, return on assets and leverage ratio. Based on these 4 parameters, RBI can decide the point of non-viability of the bank. This is the question number 11. Question number 12, capital charge for operational risk can be measured. For the capital requirement for operational risk can be measured through basic indicator approach, standardized approach and advanced measurement approach. 3 methods are there. 3 measures are there for calculation of operation risk capital calculation. Out of these, first method, the basic indicator approach in India. Presently, we are using the basic indicator approach in India, all banks. Under basic indicator approach, capital requirement for Indian banks is equal to 15% of average gross income of previous 3 financial years. Average gross income of previous 3 financial years. This is the capital required for basic indicator approach. Presently, all banks in India, we are using this method only, basic indicator approach. Question number 13, main risk in trading book. Main risk in trading book means mark to market. Trading book means objective under this is only for trading purpose or profit oriented purpose. And trading book normally it will comes in investments. Held for trading and available for sale securities are going to be parked under trading book. And when the securities are going to be parked in trading book, banks has to maintain mark to market valuations. That's why main risk in trading book, they are facing market risk. That is comes under treasury. Question number 13. Question number 14, Basel Pillar 3 market discipline. Under Basel Pillar 3 market discipline disclosures frequency quarterly. In compliance with Basel Pillar 3, banks has to disclose the information to the public, to the regulators quarterly basis, and along with their quarterly result they have to declare. And almost all banks, as per RBI stipulations, this information they have to disclose a part of quarterly disclosures, and they have to also disclose in bank's website. Basel 3 disclosures, one column is there, 14th. This is question number 14. Question number 15, number of principles under supervisory review and evaluation process. Supervisory review and evaluation process is pillar number 2 of Basel 2. Basel 2 pillar number 2 is supervisory review and evaluation process. How many principles are there under this supervisory review and evaluation process? There are 4 principles are there. What are the principles? In the December 2020 examination also, 2-3 questions they are asked in this examination. What are the 4 key principles of review under supervisory review and evaluation process? One, supervisor expect banks to operate above the minimum regulatory capital ratio. So this is the expectation from the supervisor from RBI that banks have to maintain the CRAR above the minimum regulatory requirement. 2. Bank should have a process of assessing its overall capital adequacy. Each and every bank must have overall process of assessing its overall capital adequacy in relation to its risk profile. Based on its risk profile of the bank, they have to assess its overall capital adequacy and as well as strategy for maintaining its capital levels. They have to prepare the strategies also for continuous maintenance of its capital levels in the coming years also. Number 3, supervisor shall review, that means regulator, RBI, shall review bank's internal capital adequacy assessment. After submission to RBI, RBI shall review the bank's internal capital adequacy assessment and as well as compliance with the regulatory capital ratios as per RBI stipulations in compliance with the Basel III. That is it. They will review and they will comply the verification of regulatory ratios. Number 4th one, supervisors shall seek to intervene at an early stage to prevent capital from falling below prudential limits. So it means that any bank is posting losses and their capital adequacy is less than the regulatory capital ratios, immediately supervisors shall seek to intervene immediately at an early stage to prevent further falling below the prudential levels of the capital adequacy ratios. These are the 4 principles which are very, very important under the supervisory review evaluation process. That is pillar number 2 of Basel II. Question number 16. Which type of main risk in treasury? Treasury investments, it is market risk. Market risk. What is meant by market risk? Fluctuations in currencies, fluctuations in prices of the investments, fluctuations in rate of interest. All the 3 part of market risk. So market risk is more in treasury department, treasury or investments department. And credit risk is there in the branches. Since branches are doing advances, credit risk is more. Hence treasury exclusively dealing with investments, it is facing lot of market risk. That is question number 16. Question number 17. What is minimum maturity period for subordinate debt bonds? Means tier 2 capital bonds. Subordinated debt bonds means tier 2 capital bonds. 5 years and above. Minimum maturity for subordinate debt bonds under tier 2 capital, that is 5 years and above. Tier 2 capital maximum stipulated level is 2% of risk weighted assets. Under the 2% of risk weighted assets, they are going to issue subordinated debt bonds. What is the minimum borrowing period is 5 years and above. This is the question number 17. Tier 2 capital bonds, subordinated debt bonds, minimum maturity period 5 and above. Question number 18. 3 pillars of Basel II. What are the 3 pillars of Basel II? Pillar number 1, minimum capital requirement. Under this minimum capital requirement, banks has to maintain the stipulated level of capital adequacy ratio by banks. Pillar number 2, supervisory review. Role of the regulator, banking. So that is the RBI. In our country, RBI is the regulator. Pillar number 3, market display and disclosures. Quarterly basis, banks has to disclose the market disclosures under market display. So these are the 3 pillars under Basel II. Question number 19. The ultimate responsibility for designing and implementation of ICAP lies with bank's board of directors. The ultimate responsibility for designing and implementation of ICAP lies with board of directors. ICAP stands for Internal Capital Adequacy Assessment Process. ICAP, ICAAP, Internal Capital Adequacy Assessment Process. Every bank to have one ICAP approved by board. ICAP to be a board approved process. ICAP to encompass firm-wise risk profiles. bank wise, as a whole, they have to calculate the risk profile, where in which area the bank is having more risk, in which area the bank is having. So it will cover all the risk areas which the bank is dealing and facing. ICAP to be a forward-looking process. Whatever the ICAP document is there, that is going to be submitted to RBI to next coming 2 or 3 years. What is the present level? What is the capital level? Next 1 or 2 years or 3 years, what is the capital requirement? How they are going to how they are going to write the required capital? That is called ICAP. Sometimes they are asking 5 marks question on ICAP documents. So I think this is enough even for 5 marks question also ICAP. So ICAP stands for Internal Capital Adequacy Assessment Process. ICAP is main document under pillar number 2, supervisory review and evaluation process. That is question number 19. Question number 20, LTV ratio, loan to value ratio introduced by RBI in housing loans. Loan to value ratio introduced by RBI in housing loans. The risk weights on the housing loans will depend upon the LTV ratio, loan to value ratio. Loan to value ratio is less than 80%, risk weight is 35%. Loan to value ratio between 80 to 90, risk weight is 50%. These risk weights are applicable or new housing loans to be sanctioned on or after 16/10/2020 to 31st March 2022. These two risk weights are applicable from 16/10/2020 to 31st March 2022. This is the loan to value ratio. 21. To trigger the limit or say maximum loss limit for adverse movement of rates, stop loss limit. So to avoid the losses, to cut the losses, as per the bank, the investment policy, stop loss limits, they have to follow. To trigger, to cut the limit, say maximum loss limit for adverse movement of rates. So as for the stop loss limits, as fixed in the treasury investment policy, the treasury dealing room has to follow the stop loss limits as mentioned in the treasury investment policy. Question number 22. What is the effect of Altman-Z-score model? This is also prediction of bankruptcy of the company. Effect of Altman-Z-score model is a numerical measurement that is used to predict the chances of bankruptcy. This is a numerical model that is used to predict the chances of bankruptcy in the coming 1 year. An Altman-Z-score model closest to 1.8 suggests a company might be headed for bankruptcy. The Altman-Z-score model score is nearer to 1.8 or less than 1.8, that company is headed for bankruptcy. While a score closer to 3 and above, that is a solid financial position company. So less than 1.8, that company is heading for bankruptcy. More than 3, that company is a solid financial positioning. The Z-score model is based on 5 key financial ratios. Sometimes they are asking 1 or 2 marks. Sometimes they are asking case study also in the BFM paper. 23. LIF stands for Liquidity Adjustment Facility, operated by RBI and as per RBI monetary policies. This is a tool available for RBI. Under this LIF, RBI will decide repo rates and reverse repo rates. RBI will decide the repo and reverse repo during the monetary policy reviews. That comes under LIF, Liquidity Adjustment Facility. Repo means infusing liquidity in the market. It means banks will borrow from RBI under repo. Reverse repo, if any banks is having excess liquidity, that bank is going to the bank is going to deposit the excess liquidity with RBI. That is called reverse repo. As of today, repo rate is 4%, reverse repo rate is 3.35%. That is as of date. 23. 24. The buyback offer of a commercial paper. Buyback offer of a commercial paper may not be made before. So from the date of issuance of commercial paper, within 30 days, buyback was not allowed by the company. So after 30 days from the date of issue, company is going to allow the buyback from the market, and the buyback offer they have to offer for all the investors who had invested in the commercial paper issue uniformly. So that is the buyback offer may not be made before 30 days. 24. 25. Government securities market. Government securities market trading largely takes place on NDSOM, negotiated dealing system order matching. This is means system based order matching system operated by Clearing Corporation of India on behalf of Reserve Bank of India. All the money market transactions, money market tradings are operated by CCIL on behalf of RBI under NDSOM, negotiated dealing system order matching. In these transactions, Clearing Corporation of India is the central counterparty between the banks. Between the banks and financial institutions, other participants, NDSOM, under NDSOM, Clearing Corporation of India is the central counterparty for the trades executed. That is question number 25. Question number 26. Treasury bills. Treasury bills are issued by RBI on behalf of Government of India. Treasury bills issue objective is, sir, government temporary and short-term mismatches in their funds. Treasury bills are going to be issued by RBI, Public Debt Office of RBI. What is the period of treasury bills? That is 91 days, 182 days and 364 days. So treasury bills are issued in 3 periods: 91, 182 and 364 days. These treasury bills are issued by RBI on behalf of Government of India, and particularly in the RBI, Public Debt Office, PDO, Public Debt Office of RBI can take care of these all the things. That is question number 26. Question number 27. Front Office of Treasury handles. Front Office Treasury is the main risk taker. Front Office. All tradings are going to be executed by Front Office of the Treasury. They are interacting with the market. Treasury Front Office members are dealing and handling. They are dealing with the markets. They are dealing with the securities market. They are dealing with currencies market. They are dealing with the derivatives market. So, buying and selling handled by Treasury Front Office. Since thereby the Front Office is only risk taking in Treasury. Front Office is also called as a profit center because it is only taking trading. It may be buying or selling. That's why profit center in Treasury, profit center is called as Front Office only. That is the question number 27. Question number 28. Back Office of Treasury handles. Back Office. This is another office in Treasury, Back Office. Back Office of Treasury handles confirmations. Whatever the Front Office executed deals are there, that is going to be confirmed by Back Office. Settlement and follow-up with the counterparties, Back Office. Reconciliation of national account, securities account, Back Office. Submission of statutory returns to RBI, Back Office. So, Front Office is execution, Back Office is confirmation, settlement, follow-up, reconciliation, statutory returns. One more office is there, Front Office, Back Office, and Mid Office is also there in Treasury. Mid Office also called as Risk Management Department. Mid Office is also called as Audit Department. Or Mid Office is also called as Compliance Department, monitoring of compliances of investment policy. So, Front Office, Back Office, it is there. Then 28, question number 28, ALCO Committee, Asset Liability Management Committee, what are the objectives? This is one of the very important committee about the liquidity management of the bank. Now, the ALCO Committee objectives: product pricing of deposits. deposits, pricing of deposits, pricing of advances, interest rate review as per market movement rates. Review of interest rates also ALCO committee will see. And reviewing and articulating funding policy. Based on the liquidity portion, this is going to reviewing and articulating, planning the funding policy as per the liquidity requirements of the bank, that is ALCO committee, and decide the transfer pricing policy in the bank as a whole. So ALCO committee is very important committee in balance sheet and liquidity management, product pricing of deposits, advances, interest rate review, reviewing and articulating funding policy, decide the transfer pricing policy. This is. Now, question number 30th, this is question number 29. Question number 38, economic equity ratio. Economic equity ratio is equal to ratio of shareholder funds to total assets. Economic equity ratio. Ratio of shareholder funds. It means net worth of the net worth. Shareholder funds means net worth of the shareholders to the total assets of the company. So economic equity ratio of the bank is equal to net worth of the bank divided by total assets of the bank. This ratio better, higher side is better from the risk management viewpoint of view. Economic equity ratio higher side is better. It means shareholder funds to total assets higher is best. So dear viewers, these are the 30 questions I am sharing today, and next video I am going to share the another 30 or 40 questions in the next video. My request to all, please subscribe our YouTube channel for CIAB, JAB promotional exam future videos. Thank you very much for all.